no election in Ihiala local government area of the state. Motorists in Kano State are experiencing fuel scarcity as long queues have resurfaced at filling stations in the state. According to reports, the majority of the filling stations visited within the metropolitan area were on lock and key. Now, the investigation further revealed the only filling station were selling at the control price of 165 naira per litre. The situation was, however, characterized by long queues and filling stations selling only 1 or 2 pumps to customers in spite of the long queues. The situation outside Kano metropolitan area is not different, as majority of the stations outside Kano city remained closed, while a few ones operating were selling at above government-approved price. A lot of motorists were left with no option than to purchase fuel from black marketers at higher prices, ranging from 1,000 naira to 1,500 naira per 4 litres gallon, depending on the location. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPC, says Nigerians should not panic over fuel scarcity, as there are over 1.7 billion of it. Now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited has asked Nigerians not to panic over fuel scarcity, as there are over 1.7 billion litres of petrol in stock. In a statement signed by the NNPC spokesman Garba Dean Mohammed, the national oil company said it was unnecessary to entertain any fear of scarcity of petrol throughout this festive season and beyond. According to the statement, the NNPC has over 1.7 billion litres of petrol in stock, and more products expected to arrive into the country daily over the coming weeks or months. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, is set to hold the 3rd Capital Market Committee CMC meeting in 2021 from Thursday, November 11th to Friday, 12th, 2021. The meeting is scheduled to be held virtually through Zoom, with key stakeholders in the capital market meeting on November the 11th, while the usual interface with press on the outcome of the CMC meeting will take place on Friday, November the 12th. During the meeting, issues bordering on implementation of the 10-year Capital Market Master Plan, implementation of the FinTech Roadmap, the Commodities Trading Ecosystem Roadmap, as well as other salient matters relating to the capital market and the economy would be discussed. The CMC was primarily established to serve as a medium for exchange of ideas among market stakeholders, as well as a venue for providing feedback to the SEC on how to continuously address challenges, improve market operations, and enhance the regulatory framework. President Nasri Idris of the National Union of Teachers, or NUT, says the federal government's proposed a new salary structure would help teachers perform better. He also called for the creation of a body that would settle teachers' payment of salaries. Now, Idris said Nigerian teachers had been demoralized due to poor service, and many others quit the profession out of frustration. He condemned the poor treatment the country's primary school teachers received. According to Idris, some states pay secondary school teachers their salaries on minimum wage, but not in primary schools. NUT, however, advocates and supports the removal of teachers from the local governments and the creation of a body akin to the Universal Basic Education Board or National Primary Education Commission during the military era. Armed bandits have reportedly killed 6 persons and abducted many others during an attack in Regia village in Guzau local government area of Zamfara state. According to an eyewitness, the bandits went from house to house collecting food items and other things they needed. A resident, Mustafa Ibrahim, late Sunday afternoon. According to him, the bandits also went from house to house collecting food items and other things they needed. He added that during the house-to-house, several other people with them. Another source with a spoke to BBC Hausa also confirmed the attack. He said those who died would be buried on Monday, while those injured are in hospital. Now, Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has been named as the winner of the 2020 Zik Prize for Good Governance. Sanwo-Olu shared the prize with Abdullahi Sule, governor of Nasarawa State. The Lagos State governor was honored with the award in recognition of his strong commitment to transforming Lagos into a mega city using the themes, the developmental agenda, while quietly bringing back Lagos State as the center of excellence. The Public Policy Research and Analysis Center has sometime in September 2021 at a press conference in Lagos formally announced the winners of the year 2020 Zik Prize in Leadership Awards in different categories. Sanwo-Olu on Monday, November the 8th, 2021, took to his Instagram page to share the news and photos from the event. Oyo State and French governments have held talks on ways of leveraging existing bilateral relationships to boost the economy of the state. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, while receiving the French ambassador Emmanuel Bladman and her team on a courtesy visit to him, the Executive Council chambers of the Governor's office in Ibadan, equally expressed his determination to make the state the first investment destination in Nigeria.
Involved in Oyo State through actions and programs by the French Agency for Development, and also the French Treasury will be having for the first time in Nigeria and the first time in the health sector a big partnership with Oyo State in order to help on the health aspects and the health facilities. And so what do I expect for the future? And after this very warm welcome I have received here from His Excellency Governor of Oyo State and all his team and the distinguished guests that were here today, well, is to enhance all our relations in every sector, you know, not only with exchanges for youth, academic, new projects, but also in the fields of economy, trade, and development.
We don't have challenges with medical tourism in Nigeria, to the extent that a few weeks ago, the governor of the central bank also cried out and said Nigeria's foreign reserves have been depleted because of medical tourism. With this facility from the French government, we believe that Oyo State will definitely be able to bridge the gap nationally as far as medical tourism is concerned. They will be coming to Oyo State once they have confidence in the facilities and also.
As part of efforts to discover sport talents and expand the state economy through sporting activities, the Oyo State government has partnered a Sport Development Foundation, advocate for Grassroots Sports Foundation, to explore and showcase the state's sports potential to the outside world. The State Commissioner for Youth and Sport, Seun Fako Rede, made this known during a press conference held in his office.
Man City was showing us what they've got. They're showing us the number of fans they have in Nigeria, the number of engagement they have every weekend in Nigeria. So when it was our time through AC to show them, we were just speculating, but it didn't happen. So from then onwards, I decided that if that's the only thing I do before I leave this world, we must make sure that we collate data. And Madam said it is for fans. It goes beyond fans now. If you remember when we have a little meeting with Honorable Commissioner said, no, you must not stop there. You must have for coaches, you must have for parents. But you know what this database will do for us? Let's say, for instance, 2022 Qatar that is coming up. You went to the embassy to apply for your visa. You're from Oyo State. They don't know you. They'll be wondering, who is this person again? Okay, yeah. But you know what? They will come to our portal and search your name. And they will see your name. That is almost automatic visa for you. Because you're registered with a state-sanctioned portal. Your name is on a database.
Because today, there is no way you want to talk anywhere in the world that the English the world understand, the lexicon the world understand today is data. Data is king. I mean, you can't come and just tell me that, okay, we want you to sponsor our community. We want you to do this for our community in sports. I mean, I want to hear figures. That, okay, in our community, I'm from Ibarapa Central Local Government, for example now, So if I want to talk that, if I want to tell people about that community, I should be able to say that in my community, I have so number of athletes, I have so number of footballers, I have so number of tennis players, I have so number of Scrabble or chess players.
We'll go on a commercial break at this juncture. We'll return shortly with more here on the show. Let's stay with us.
The perfect body, the perfect grooming, and ultimately the perfect skin. Looks, style, and grooming makes the ultimate man. I've found a ridiculously easy way to make my skin always feel epic. My name is Neo. I found Blemiviv, and now my skin finally makes sense.
You're welcome back. Africa News now. Candidates for Libya's presidential and legislative elections slated for December the 24th can start registering from Monday, the Electoral Commission there said. The head of the commission, Imad Al-Sayeh, told reporters that it is the real start of the electoral process aimed at turning the page on a decade of violence in the north of African country. He added that the candidates' registration for the presidential election will be open from November the 8th to the 22nd of November and from November the 8th to December the 7th for the legislative polls. All-rich Libya has been ripped apart by violence since 2011, overthrow and killing of veteran leader Muammar Gaddafi in a NATO-backed uprising. The polls are part of UN-backed peace efforts that have helped create a year of relative calm in war-racked Libya following a ceasefire there. Now, rebels fighting the Ethiopian government have rejected reports that the population of the capital, Addis Ababa, would be hostile to their presence. The Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, have made advances in recent weeks and are now 400 kilometers away from the capital. The rebels' spokesman denied that entering the city would cause a bloodbath. The TPLF is locked in a year-long battle with the government headed by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Another rebel group, OLA, has also joined them in the fight against the government. The objective is to overthrow the Prime Minister there. Foreign news now. Travelers excited at the prospect of seeing family and friends for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic began took off for the United States on Monday as the lifted travel restrictions slapped on much of the world for the best part of 2 years. The travel ban, first imposed in early 2020, had barred access to non-U.S. citizens traveling from 33 countries, including China, India, and much of Europe, and had also restricted overland entry from Mexico and Canada. The United States lagged many other countries in lifting the caps made possible by the rollout of vaccines despite rising infections in many countries and critical to reviving tourism around the globe. Months of the pent-up demand triggered a major spike in bookings on Monday, with travelers only required to show official proof of vaccination and a recent negative viral test. Australia began administering boosted shots of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine on Monday, as millions of people in its largest city, Sydney, woke up to more freedom amidst an accelerating immunization drive. Australia's vaccination rate has picked up pace since July, after widely missing its initial targets when its southeast was hit by a third wave of infections triggered by the highly infectious Delta variant, forcing months-long lockdowns. Sydney and Melbourne, its largest cities and worst hit by the Delta wave, have been racing through their inoculations before gradually relaxing restrictions. Life returned close to normal on Monday in New South Wales, home to Sydney, as the state nears its 90% dual-dose vaccinations in people above 16. There are now no limits on the number of fully vaccinated guests at homes, while restaurants and other entertainment venues can allow more patrons.
Hello, welcome to Business News. I am Frank Omalape. Now, the incessant building collapse is a function of lack of proper implementation of policy and not a result of lack of policy. This is according to a fellow member of Nigeria Institute of Building, Adelaja Adekombi. According to Adekombi, the Lagos Building Control Agency requires total overhauling, having failed in its oversight functions and responsibility. Adekombi was speaking on Business Breakfast earlier in the day.
But the training I'm talking about is for that particular agency, Lagos State Building Control Agency. It needs serious overhauling. The ministry, the agency needs to know the purpose, the document they hold. They have to sit down and analyze those documents and also know their limitation. That ministry, that agency need to be worked on. They should not be. And government should also take this as a measure that if we want control in Lagos and we don't want this thing to happen again, they need to leave the agency to operate. If we are not careful, we will just continue to talk and talk and talk.
It must be dealt with from the top.
Government must make up their mind. Are we willing to allow this regulation to work? Are we ready to allow it to work? We don't want to see more of this again. Let us sit down together. Let us also not put money in front of the agency. Why they will be running after money instead of them doing the control.
And away from there now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has disclosed that the volume of counterfeit currency in circulation declined from 84,934 pieces in 2019 to 67,000 pieces of fake notes in 2020, indicating a 20.80% decrease. This was revealed in the Currency Operations 2020 annual report released by the Apex Bank. The report suggests that the higher denomination notes like the 1,000 naira and 500 naira form the bulk of the counterfeited banknote, putting them at 69.9% and 30.79% respectively of the total counterfeited note. Meanwhile, the CBN also noted that it is partnering with the various security agencies to sustain effort aimed at limiting incidents of counterfeiting and maintaining the integrity of the banknotes in circulation. Central Bank's money and credit statistics. The country's private sector witnessed an increase in borrowing in recent years due to a combination of central bank monetary policies, innovation in technology and credit profiling, as well as a rise in fintech companies participating in the lending space. In 2021, the private sector recorded a net increase of 3.69 trillion naira in net borrowings. Over the last 5 years, credit to the private sector has risen by over 100% growth. And now the Central Bank of Nigeria has fixed 5 billion naira as the maximum loan amount that a participant can gain access to in a newly introduced initiative called the 100 for 100 PPP Policy on Production and Productivity Policy. The CBN stated these in its guidelines for the implementation of the initiative, which was released the weekend. The Apex Bank further said that the initial companies with projects that have the potential to enhance local production and productivity and also improve the generating capacity of the Nigerian economy. Nigerian importers and export the goods via Togo port to Nigeria following the government to Republic of Benin decision to stop all Nigeria goods coming from Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana and Togo. However, shippers described the situation to be a revenge measure over Nigeria's closure of its borders in 2019 with Togo port because of the Beninese customs are demanding be close to that amount to ransom while importers are going through Togo or Ghana instead of crossing through a Lakoji border because of that demand. And on the African scene now, the Kenya Revenue Authority KRA is once again under pressure from Nairobi MCAs to disclose details of the revenue collected. Bank statement for the period commencing March 2020 and the financial year ended June 30, 2020, City Hall realized about 8.52 billion shillings owned SOX revenue, representing a drop of more than was in March 2020 appointed as the principal revenue collector agent for the county government in line with the deed of transfer the previous month. Some Nairobi MCAs in June this year faulted the taxman for failing to expand the city county's revenue since taking over as the principal revenue collector. And while in the last financial year ended June 30, 2021, the collection improved to 9.94 billion, the official selling price for each crude. Brent crude was up by 84 cents or about 1% at $83.58 a barrel after dropping nearly 2% last week. US oil gained 95 cents or about 1.2% to $82.22 a barrel, having declined almost 3% through Friday. President Joe Biden on Saturday welcomed congressional passage of a long-delayed $1 trillion infrastructure bill which may boost growth and demand for fuels. China's export growth slowed in October but beat forecast, buoyed by rising global demand ahead of winter holiday seasons and improvement in coronavirus hit supply chains. Well, and that's all on business news at this hour. Many thanks for watching. I am Franco Malapes. Back to you now.
Thanks very much, Frank. And it's a wrap on News Now. Thanks very much for being part of it all. Michael Nart here.
Okay, I'm sure my face is new. Anyways, beautiful. Anyways, your uncle who actually employed me to be your personal teacher. He said you're very good in English.
My uncle employed you.
He employed me.
Hey, don't you my teacher?
Yeah.
Hey, I said it.
Okay, enough with the words. What's your name?
iBrandTV. Business first.
Gone are the days when all Africans did was wait on free money from Europe and America to survive. Today, the relationship is moving towards that of equal partners. This has been particularly demonstrated in the music industry and the entertainment scene at large. This documentary is about how Nigerian artists and indeed African artists can do better with their international collaborations. Hi, my name is Damilola Alije, your host on the BTS, and today on the BTS we'll be discussing the influence of international collaborations on the entertainment industry. Now, gone are those moments or those periods where a Nigerian or African music consumer is excited about the collabo between our artists and those from across the ocean, mostly from the US hip-hop community. We've seen the likes of Two-Face and R. Kelly.
Yeah.